Hey there, you with the stars in your eyes. My name is Kiris, and this week in astrology, we have Mercury, the planet of communication, entering its storm shadow cycle. We have the full moon coming up in Capricorn, and also Saturn stations retrograde in Aries. Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello, welcome. Thank you everyone for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, July 6th through Saturday, July 12th, 2025. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. Sunday, the Sun's Day, July 6th, find out if they want to go the distance and make a long-term commitment. Also, this is a question you want to ask yourself. What's happening today as we start off the week is that we have the moon in Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is now exalted in the sign of Cancer, which is all about how you feel, home, and family. Now, the moon in Sagittarius is making an opposition aspect to Venus in mutable air Gemini. Now, mutable air Gemini, when it's with Venus, which is the planet of love, marriage, and beauty, Venus in Gemini is fickle. It changes very quickly and easily, gets bored very easily. So with the two feminine planets, the moon opposition Venus, the moon being what it is that you want and how you feel, Sagittarius, Jupiter just keeps going and going, the long-term distance and then some. So this is an aspect here in the cosmic energy to find out, to ask, do you want to commit and go the distance, and or does the person you're involved with want this to go long-term? We also have today the moon in Sagittarius making a fire trine flow to Saturn in its fall in Aries. Moon in Sagittarius makes a fire trine flow to Neptune, now retrograde in Aries. This is dreaming a new dream, having a new vision for yourself. And the moon in Sagittarius makes a sextile aspect of opportunity to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. The fire and air elements that we have today as we're starting off the week on Sunday, fire and air, these are masculine, they're outgoing, they're expressive. Ask questions, take action, get it done as far as how and what you want and feel, and what is your vision for the future. Dreaming your new dream, and not only what you want, but what do you love so much that you would stick with it long term, like the moon in Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, just going to keep going and going and going. Now, the two mutable signs of Sagittarius and Gemini, they shine a light on it's time for a change. You've outgrown something. You've gotten very restless and bored. These are both very restless signs of the zodiac, Sagittarius and Gemini. They're signs of not only restlessness, but they're signs of duality, the tension of the opposites, which means always reaching, always searching, always seeking for the next thing, something new. So this is how we're starting off the week, which is questioning what you feel you have outgrown, you've gotten bored with it, restless, and what is that new star dream that you are reaching for. Monday, the moon's day, July 7th, become a jack of all trades, not a master of one. We have the planet Uranus, the outer generational planet Uranus, entering mutable air Gemini. This will be a quantum leap forward in things that will be invented. Uranus and Gemini, when that happened before computers were invented. And look at all the advances and then some when it comes to computers, AI, technology. It's interesting that the original first computer programmers were women. It was considered to be a woman's job to enter all of the complicated data into the newborn computer era that we were entering. Also, things like penicillin, antibiotics, advances in medicine. This happened with Uranus in Gemini, and also radar. There are so many things, but radar was invented, being able to detect what was coming near us and crossing a boundary. We also had blood plasma transfusions invented. There are just so many things. So with this jack of all trades, master of none, originally that saying, being a jack of all trades, master of none, that was actually meant to be a compliment in the sense of don't just learn one thing, to just master one skill set. This is appropriate today with this Uranus entering the sign of Gemini, because again, with things moving so quickly and so many new inventions, that if you have a broader base of knowledge and skill set, this is Gemini, knowledge, learning, information, a broader scope of things that you can do. This is what this outer generational planet Uranus is about, which is to not just stay stuck in one area that you know very well. Nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. But the jack of all trades is saying become a jack or knowledgeable in different areas of skills and value on the marketplace. An outer generational planet spends a long time in one division of the sky or one sign of the zodiac, meaning it shows how all of us together change and move forward over time. And so the beauty of knowledge and Gemini is that there's so much to learn. We never stop learning and gaining knowledge, especially in the area of astrology. This Uranus entering the sign of Gemini is indicating, highlighting for us from the cosmos that the time of just having one job, one area of information, one skill set, that is shifting and changing. Mutable Gemini, it corresponds to the time, the season, when things are morphing and shifting and changing. So learn something new and be really happy and excited about it with our new Uranus entering the sign of mutable air Gemini. Also because Gemini is a sign of duality and very restless, this will feed that void you may feel in yourself where you get bored and you need something new, and the stimulation of your mind and learning something new is also connected to what Gemini is all about. Youth, young thinking, fresh and new. So do this with the Uranus and Gemini, but this is what this new cycle shift is all about. Gemini is the sign of youth and always being young at heart. So it doesn't matter if you're a younger person or an older person. What keeps you young at heart is when your mind is young, open-minded, and willing and happy to learn new things. Jack of all trades, master of none. Tuesday, Mars's Day, July 8th, it is never too late to heal. There is always the right time for you in your age to choose healing and health. We have the moon still in Sagittarius today, making a fire trine flow to Chiron, the wounded healer in the sign of Aries. No matter what you've been through, and no matter how long ago it may have been, this moon in Sagittarius making the trine to the wounded healer is saying, it's highlighting for us, it is always the right time. Age isn't an excuse. It is always the right time to choose health and healing. So for instance, let's say that something happened to you, it was decades ago, and for whatever reason, you've put it off, you've never really looked at it, expressed it, communicate what it was about. This fire trine flow, which is illumination and light. The fire shines the awareness, the consciousness on something that is in your emotional body. This is the moon in Sagittarius. And whatever happened, that it was an event where you stopped believing, where you stopped being optimistic. I'm talking about the trauma, the event, where you stopped having faith in yourself and in life. Moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the faith and going on adventures and being happy and excited about yourself and your life. In other words, the spirit of childhood, the spirit of wonder, what's out there to explore. and the wonder of it all, like the cosmos. So the moon in Sagittarius making this fire trine flow to Chiron, the wounded healer, which had a great wound, but also found that greatest healing. This aspect today is saying or highlighting for you that no matter what you may have been through and suffered in life, you have the cosmic superpower to choose healing and have your spirit and wonder of life like a child. Sagittarius is a sign of the zodiac that is open-hearted like a child and can be very gullible sometimes, but also trusting and believing in yourself and in life. So just know that you are never too old to heal. The time for healing is always right, no matter where you're at, what stage of life, what age of life. You can get that inner sense of just being excited to be alive. That is more than enough, no matter what the age, with the moon in Sagittarius trine Chiron, the wounded healer. And the moon is what you truly want. It's something that we need. We're approaching the exact moment of the full moon. So the wanting and the needing in your emotional body, as we are almost at the exact moment of the full moon, is saying, yes, believe in yourself. Believe that, yes, you can always heal, and you have that power. You are born with it. Wednesday, Mercury's Day, July 9th, look at yourself dead in the eye in the mirror and say the lost word. The word is no. Say the word no. We've got the moon now in its detriment in the sign of Capricorn, making a square aspect to its ruler, Saturn in Aries, in its fall placement, which is very irresponsible and connected to the parents, especially the father. You're saying the word no today and getting used to saying the word no, because the moon in its detriment, making this square aspect to Saturn in its fall placement, is the cosmic energy being highlighted for us of where and how your boundaries were not respected, and where and how you were socialized and conditioned, brainwashed not to say the word no. The moon in Capricorn is like an orphan child trying to find its way home. Moon in Capricorn is in exile. It's the furthest away from where you feel safe, protected, and loved, getting your emotional needs met as a child. A lot of times with the moon in Capricorn, mom can be always working. There wasn't a caretaker there, someone there to fulfill what it is that you needed when you weren't in a position yet to fulfill your own needs, meaning an infant, a child. Saturn is the father, the boundary, the authority figure. And when Saturn is in its fall in Aries, irresponsible is an understatement. So this sense of being disconnected from yourself, your needs, your emotional body, which is the moon, what it is that makes you feel safe and protected, the appropriate boundaries. This is Saturn at its best, the respect of the appropriate boundaries. But with this aspect today, especially as we're getting to that full moon moment, learning to say no, which carries forward in your life if and when you couldn't say no to inappropriate boundaries as an infant, a child, then that emotional imprint, which is the moon shines in the nighttime. We are not aware of it until we try to make a point to become aware of, well, what was the socialization and conditioning? What happened where not only were you not getting your needs met, but heaven help you if you said the word no. So today is about learning how to say no. And again, it's not a chronological age thing. There are people that can be well into adulthood and beyond and still haven't learned to say the word no. This is why when you look at yourself, if this relates to you, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you say the word no, and it could be something as simple as Someone invites you out on the weekend to Saturday night, and for whatever reason, you really don't want to go. You want to say the word no, but because you feel obligated, and whatever it may have been when you were a child, you felt that you just couldn't say no. You weren't allowed to say the word no. In other words, what all of this is saying as we get to the full moon is learn to have an appropriate boundary for yourself, your health, your well-being, your safekeeping, and learn how to say the word no. One of the most important words we'll probably ever learn in life. I just get such a kick out of the fact that our golden age Hollywood legend Betty Davis, she once said, the most important word you learn in Hollywood is the word no. Learn how to say the word no. Thursday, Jupiter's Day, July 10th, stop being afraid and trying to control everything because you are more like your mom than what you are aware of. We have the full moon in Capricorn today at 18 degrees, and the full moon is when the moon accepts the full light and awareness, consciousness of the sun. The moon is literally lit up and mirroring back to us what is going on behind the scenes, underneath, what is hidden, what is a mystery inside of our emotional body and consciousness. We know now for a fact that babies, before they are born, they are feeling everything, and they are feeling and absorbing the fear of their mothers before they are even born yet. So the full moon in Capricorn is highlighting for us where and how in your life do you try to control things because of the fear. The most powerful fear with the moon in Capricorn is the fear of you not getting your needs met, that you won't be loved, that you'll be lonely, that you will be abandoned, that you are not lovable to begin with. Because what the child learns right from the beginning of life, even before they are born, is if they are wanted and loved. This is the fear base that the full moon in Capricorn is highlighting for us. If you were wanted just from the get-go. Babies, even before they are born, they can feel the emotion of if the mom is excited and happy and looking forward to the birth, or if the mom is filled with all kinds of fears because of a baby being born and other things that were going on in her life. The emotional imprint of your mom is there right from the get-go. So how this can play out in life and what this full moon is about is taking a look at where in your life this takes some investigation, because remember, the moon is hidden. It's a mystery. We have to go try and discover it and bring it into the light. Where and how in your life do you try to control things? Because what's really going on underneath is the fear that your need will not get met if you don't try to control it, or control it, period. How the cosmos will help you to discover what fear and controlling aspect is there is, what is it about your own mom, whether she is still present or not? What is it? What was it about your own mom that really rattled you, frightened you, and got you upset to the point where you may say the words, I am nothing like my mother. My mother does such and such, or my mom was like fill in the blank, and I am nothing like that. When you feel that emotion, that fear, anger coming up, you're actually onto something there. And this is what the full moon in Capricorn is highlighting for us, that type of emotion and big emotion of I am nothing like what my mom used to do here or there. That is a major clue message for you of where the fear is and how and why you're trying to control that. The moon in Capricorn is always, whether it's full moon or not, the emotional belief that when you finally earn enough, achieve enough, then you will finally be worthy and good enough to have your needs met, be lovable, and be loved. this powerful full moon in Capricorn, its detriment is trying to find its way home back to its castle where it is safe, loved, and trusts and knows that it is worthy of being loved. Just for being alive, just for being you. Your beingness is enough. You don't have to do anything to feel that you are worthy in trying to earn somebody's love. The moon at her best is that feeling, that relaxation of just being happy and excited and grateful just to be alive. You don't have to do anything to try and earn that. That, at its core gut level, this is the moon. When you feel that feeling in your gut, your stomach, that's where you also feel the fear. That feeling, that relaxation, that happiness and joy just to be alive. The gratitude in the beingness of life itself. This is our gift with the full moon in Capricorn. Moon in Capricorn, as you know, gets a very bad reputation with the moon in Capricorn being in its detriment. But the cosmos doesn't just leave you there all alone like a frightened, scared, hungry child. The astrology in the cosmos always shows you your way home, how to solve the problem and get out of the situation that you're in. It doesn't just abandon you like a frightened, lonely, hungry child. The cosmos is your guiding star. It shows you how to get home. Friday, Venus's Day, July 11th. Take that class workshop that you've always been meaning to take. We are still in full moon energy, but the moon is now in fixed air Aquarius, making a gorgeous air trine flow to Uranus in Gemini. If the class or workshop that you've always been meaning to take has to do with creativity and invention, that's even more exciting because the moon wants to absorb knowledge, new knowledge and information with the moon in fixed air Aquarius because it gives a different perspective, a different mindset. Now with the moon making this trine to now we have Uranus and Gemini, which is books, learning, information, technology. This is a very creative aspect we're having today where, again, with the busyness of life, if you've always been putting off, I'd like to take this type of a class or try that type of a workshop, go for it, do this for yourself, because we are in an era of invention. And when you are in some type of creative environment that is very free flow, this is the element of air. Moon in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, where it is not so structured, it's improvisational. It's the sense of, with that spirit of let your mind just explore and go where it wants to go. Then this is the type of class workshop you may be excited to take. And because today everything is online anyway, if it is too inconvenient for you to leave your home, or if you have certain needs where you can't leave your home, you're more stuck at home because of different health things that may be going on, then take an online class. Find your community, find your group. This is the moon in Aquarius. You're like-minded people. And when you are doing something that energetically you love, because it all happens on the energetic before it hits the physical. If you're learning and excited about something that is new and fresh, your family, your tribe, your people, moon in Aquarius, your friends, they will find you. The stimulation of this moon in Aquarius trine Uranus and Gemini is the awakening in the sense of charging up an aspect to your mind and imagination that perhaps it's been put off because of the busyness of life. But this is a beautiful aspect to finally take that class, learn a language, something new, whatever it may be. With the moon trine Uranus in the element of air that needs to move, needs to be free, and really needs to be stimulated in new ways all of the time. It's like you've been sleeping way too long, you've overslept, you know it, and now you're waking up your brain with a new class, new workshop, new concepts and ideas. Saturday, Saturn's Day, July 12th. Stop trying to save a fool. We have Saturn stationing retrograde today in its fall placement in the sign of Aries. Saturn rules over time and the appropriate timing of events. The thing about fools is that fools don't listen. Fools never get the lesson. Fools just keep doing the same thing over and over again foolishly, and they just don't learn the lesson of Saturn. Saturn is the great taskmaster, the great teacher. It puts us to the test because there are certain tough, hard lessons in life that we need to learn. It's appropriate to learn. But a fool just doesn't get the lesson, no matter how many times Saturn has tried to teach them the lesson. A very wise teacher once said, "I can heal the sick, I can make the blind see, I can bring the dead back to life, but not even I can save a fool from his foolishness." Now when the Lord himself says, "Hey, dead guy, Lazarus, you, come back to life, come back from the dead," and dead guy gets back up and comes back to life. But don't ask me to save a fool, because not even I can save a fool from his foolishness. This Saturn retrograde in Aries is saying to you, how many times are you going to keep suffering a fool in your life and wasting time, Saturn, trying to save them when they're just not going to get it? And that does happen in life. Saturn, at its best, has a tremendous, wonderful sense of responsibility. What you are truly responsible for in life, and yes, we do have responsibilities, and what is not your responsibility, because they're a fool and they're never going to get it. This goes back to the beginning of the week, which is looking in the mirror and learning how to say the word no on so many different levels. But with this Saturn retrograde in Aries, it's learning how to say no to the responsibility that it is your responsibility, and it isn't to try to save a fool from their foolishness. If you have taken on the responsibility of a fool, you have now become the fool itself. We can pray for people, try to help people, try to guide them in the right direction, but you cannot save a fool from his foolishness. This full moon energy that we're in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, and now Saturn stationing retrograde, is highlighting for us how precious time is. Once that time is spent, we cannot get that time back. And the Saturn in its fall in Aries is not only the appreciation for the preciousness of time, but what you are doing with the time and what are you truly responsible for with the time that you have. Ask yourself this question with Saturn stationing retrograde in Aries. Who is the fool in your life? And you know it, and you do, but you keep putting up with going back for more. As we close out this week in astrology, just remember, I can heal the sick, I can make the blind see, I can bring the dead back to life, but not even I can save a fool from his foolishness. Have a fabulous week, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you all in the stars.